Hopefully mine is recording too. I see the little record in the corner, so we're doing something different this time. I am here to mentor you. I had a chance to watch you teach your class, and I had a few pointers for you. Hopefully this will be helpful. I thought that you really handled the class very calmly, have very calm and gentle demeanor. I think that's a nice quality.
Thank you.
Um, I the only pointers I have for you really are a couple of things, just to see if we can figure out how to get you to connect with the children and build relationships with them.
Okay.
And also to maybe learn how to use some more interesting visuals and technology and other things that might be more interesting for them to look at and get engaged in. So I think that uh, over a month, if we break it up a little bit and do a few different things each week, that we'll be able to kind of cover all of it. I'm thinking maybe the first week that we spend some time doing some researching some other technology or visuals that we can use in the classroom that will engage the children. And then also spend a few minutes with maybe about a quarter of the children over the week. So if you had about, I don't know, if there was about 28 kids in the class for the first week, maybe pick about 7 kids. So maybe 1 to 2 kids per day. Just spend a couple minutes with asking them some personal questions about themselves or their pets or the books they like, or get them talking about what they do on the weekends and better connect with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the second week, maybe if we can try, you can try, or I can try, or we could work together if you want to write up some lesson plans regarding the new technology or the visual aids that we've been researching to help the kids get engaged in class. And then again, spend another few minutes with 1 or 2 kids per day connecting with more children in the class. And then moving into the third week, we can possibly implement some of the new technology that we've been putting together, and also spend another few minutes with 1 or 2 kids per day. And then when we go into the fourth week, we should be able to have you spend a few minutes with the rest of the children so that you've had a chance to get to know all of them, and hopefully they'll be more engaged in the class. And then also maybe ask the children for their feedback regarding some of the visual aids or technology that we did use over the month, to see what they liked, and just get them more involved in it. They seem to be, they're old enough to probably be pretty into technology, so they may have some ideas too. Then that just helps better with the connection and getting some more interesting things into the classroom.
Okay.
I think that your idea of doing the presentations with them is great. That's a good start to get to know some of the children and get them more comfortable with everybody in the classroom and everybody getting to know each other better. Definitely let me know. We can meet weekly. You can let me know if you have any questions, and we can just see how that all works and go from there. How does that sound?
Sounds great. Thank you so much for the input. I'll definitely take that into account, and I look forward to implementing all of these strategies.
Great.
Okay, Wendi, love being in your classroom. Loved watching you teach this class. Oh, good God, sorry about that. I really like the way you engage with these students, how you are able to connect with them. And, your class is extremely, extremely interesting. I can see why the kids are so excited to come to school every day. As I watch your class, I have I identified 2 areas of growth which could help you, teaching even in a better way. One of them is to find alternative ways to make sure that all of the students participate in the discussion and the, Q&As that you hold for them. And the other one is just, the way that your room is set up, and maybe making use, better use of the space to make a better learning environment. Now, some things that I've thought about that I'd like to discuss with you is, when you think about your students participating, what kind of things do you think you could use to improve, student participation when you're discussing, a specific topic like today's? Is there anything that comes to mind that you could do better?
Well, I do notice that when I ask questions, that usually I get the same kids raising their hands, and I want to be able to figure out how to get everybody involved.
Right, and I did see some of the same things. I have a couple of ideas that are very basic, and I've actually seen you use this in the past, but it's something maybe you want to incorporate again in your classroom. One of this is, the talking sticks, where you have the kids' names written down and you have them in a jar, and you just, randomly pull out a name, and you can ask a question or have someone, give their opinion. That way they can be more engaged. What do you think about this?
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. That usually works pretty good.
Right? Okay, so that's something we can bring, and that's very easy to implement. Now, when I saw you talk about the Wright brothers, and what they did, and how they invented the airplane, etc. I was thinking maybe you could bring some more visual elements, something that's, more realistic to the students. So maybe even bring, a real, a model airplane or a stuffed airplane or something, or even, using technology, you can show the kids, what the airplane looked like. Do you think this is something that would help the students understand the concept better? Some of these kids may have never seen a real airplane,
That is a great idea. They'd love to see the pictures of the airplanes, or even somehow building the models or something in the class would be really exciting for them.
Good. Okay, I'm glad you think that this would be useful. And then just the way your classroom is set up, I know you do a lot of activities and you have a lot of projects for them, but I'm thinking if we could reorganize it somehow and create centers and declutter it a little bit, it would be more conducive to a better learning environment. Do you think this is something that you could foresee as being useful or not?
Oh yeah, it feels like I have a lot of stuff, and a lot of times I can't even remember where everything's at.
Okay, so I think if we just implemented, these are very basic and simple things, but sometimes we get so involved in our day-to-day that we forget about it. So I'm glad that you agree with this. One thing that I think would work great for you is reminding the students about norms and procedures at the beginning of class and between transitions. You have an extremely active class, and they get distracted easily because of their energy level and their age. And also, explaining your high expectations to them, at the beginning of the activity and throughout the class, and getting them to repeat, what it is they're supposed to be doing, so that they keep thinking about it. Another thing that I'm thinking is, I don't know if you've ever thought about or if you've ever heard of, this technique called the preferred activity time strategies. Have you ever read about this or implemented it in your class?
I have read a little bit about it, but not a lot, and I have not had a chance to implement any of it.
So this is very simple. It's been proven to be very useful, and a lot of teachers really enjoy doing this in class. And what it is you give a task to the students and you tell them that they need to finish certain things before they get the preferred activity time. And what it is, it's some free time, what they will look at as a game or something they can play, but you're still gearing this activity toward, a learning, activity. So for example, you are learning about the Wright brothers, and how they invented the airplanes. And you give the kids, they have 3 things to complete within their group. So once they're all finished, then you tell them they have earned free time. Free time could be maybe playing charades, maybe playing bingo, maybe playing cards, but you create these activities all around the same concept of the Wright brothers. Even playing hangman. You can come up with, a multitude of activities. but even when they think they're getting free time, they're still learning because they're reinforcing everything they've learned throughout your class. So this could be something that you could bring into the classroom, and that way you can see who's working faster, who needs more help. But the kids who are finished first, they're still engaged and they're actively learning. What do you think about this?
I think that would actually probably be really helpful, because certainly any way that they think is going to be fun or a game while I'm sneaking in education would be great.
Right. And I think that, you're right on target with that. And this would benefit your students, because they're going to be more engaged. It would benefit you as a teacher because there will be less disruptions. And, you don't have to worry about jumping from one to the other so quickly. You can spend more time with the kids who are actually struggling. And the kids are going to feel like they're being rewarded for something at the end of their activity. And I'm thinking we could do this, we can separate all these things within a month time. And you and I can work together and we can arrange this in a way that, suits you. But I'm thinking maybe during the first week, we can work on your classroom setup and maybe do some decluttering and rearranging the class so that, we can assign centers for the students and, where you want them to, if you want a specific place for them to move and play certain games, or you can set up the activities. Does that sound something that you could do during the first week?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Great. Then on week 2, once everything's set up, you can review norms and procedures for the students. Since you're going to be changing a little bit of the routine, you can do some drills to review with them. And even bring up the talking stick, so you can ask them random questions about the norms and the procedures, and they can see how it works. Again, they get used to it, and then as you bring in your lessons, they already see that the talking sticks are going to be part of the lesson plan. Does that sound like something reasonable?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Great. Then I'm thinking on the 3rd week, as they're getting all used to this, then you can bring in more visuals for the next lesson you're bringing in. And we can work on this together about looking up things online, or maybe, coming up with a project or something that the students could even create themselves, or something that, you could bring into the classroom. And then finally, on week 4, we could set it all up, put it all to play, and just, we can compare how your lesson before this, changes were made, and afterwards compare and see if, there's been an improvement in how the students are learning, how they're behaving, and how your lesson is flowing. I think if we meet once a week, if I come in the classroom, then we can discuss, we can brainstorm. I'm happy to help you with anything that you might need. And, we can go through the things that are working out and tweak the things that are not working out.
That sounds good.
Does this sound like something then that you're willing to work with and, hopefully see some positive changes?
Yes, definitely. I think that'd be great.
Well, I look forward to working with you, and setting this up into place and see where we go with this. I only see positive things happening from here. So, thank you for letting me come in and sharing some time with you in your class.
Thank you.
All right.